Hi everyone, this is Prinza, and today we are joined by Kev Silk. He is leading the Appchains product line here at Ankr, and he recently gave a talk at Masari Mainnet about how Appchains are scaling Web3 development, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. But before we do that, Kev, can you briefly introduce yourself and explain what exactly are Appchains?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Prince. My name's Kev Stokes. I'm a product manager at Ankr, and I'm focusing on Ankr token staking as well as app chains. So those are my two biggest priorities, and happy to describe what an app chain is. But I think before I do that, it's imperative to discuss the current building landscape that developers have and what that means for consumers, and then how app chains solve for some of the limitations that builders have. So right now, if you're a Web3 developer, you really have three main options to build. You can build on a layer 1 like Ethereum, you can build on a layer 2 like Polygon, or you can build your own blockchain, right? So when you build on a layer 1 or a layer 2, of course, there are some incredible projects out there that are in the space, like Ethereum, like Polygon, but developers are competing for traffic with other developers who are trying to build, grow, and scale their applications as well. They're all sharing one dedicated mempool. And when you have one project that is gaining a lot of traction and becoming super popular, it takes up a lot of the requests that are in that mempool. So it's very difficult for consumers to, or for developers to build applications that consumers will truly love, because what occurs is when you have one dedicated mempool for thousands of developers, that's what makes the transactions somewhat slow and the gas fee super high, which ultimately results in a less than stellar user experience for consumers. So what app chains do, and what app chains are basically exactly what they sound like, application specific blockchains. And these are these types of solutions that these L1s and L2s are beginning to offer. And essentially what they do is they allow developers to have their own dedicated blockchain to build, grow, and scale their applications. So what that means is developers now have their own mempool where they are sending their requests to RPC nodes, which are servicing traffic. And basically it allows for a much better building experience for these developers, and it empowers them to reach their full potential. And what this means for consumers is the better the infrastructure that these developers have, the better user experience their applications are going to be. And the higher user experience of these decentralized applications means the higher amount of people that are actually going to join Web3 and begin to use them. So it's a very exciting solution in the space that a lot of big projects are starting to create these solutions for, and Ankr is able to provide the infrastructure for them all.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the builder's landscape and what are application-specific blockchains, right? But I'm curious to know, why would developers use app chain infrastructure? What's the need?
So when it comes to app chains infrastructure, what we do is we build the infrastructure specifically to the developer's needs. So, as we know, every developer is different. They have their own skills, their own backgrounds, their own experiences, and there really isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for developers. So what we do is we tailor the infrastructure, the core infrastructure of a blockchain, which is a block explorer, staking UI, RPC nodes, validator nodes, and a faucet for testnet tokens. We build all of that specifically to what the developer asks us for, to help them reach their timelines, their goals, their milestones. And on top of that, depending upon what type of application that they're building, whether it's a Web3 game or it's DeFi, healthcare, insurance, whatever it may be, we provide some additional premium tools to help them reach their goals in that perspective. So for instance, if someone's building a Web3 game, we're able to incorporate our gaming SDK, which is what empowers these developers to build these games with super high quality user experiences, but also user interfaces. And this is what these Web2 gaming studios are starting to really like about the AppChain solution, along with the gaming SDK, because it allows them to capture a new market, which is this play to earn market, the blockchain space, without sacrificing the great quality of their games. On top of that, if somebody wanted to build a DeFi protocol and they had, or they wanted to have some more privacy over it, we're able to incorporate a KYC feature, which is in part due to that premium tooling that we have, that allows these developers to have some form of privacy over who can enter their blockchain with certain restrictions. So basically, we are super customizable, and we want to ensure that the developer really is comfortable with their infrastructure to help them, grow and build applications with, again, great user experiences.
So kind of a follow-up question, but how can developers build with Ankr Appchains?
Yeah, so basically it's as simple as we begin the conversation, right? So we understand, we want to understand from them what mother chain they want to build on, right? And it starts there ultimately. And the L1s and the L2s that are offering these types of solutions are Binance, Polygon, Cosmos, Avalanche. And the developer picks which mother chain that they want to build on. And then we build the infrastructure, right? Those 5 main components to their specific needs. So ultimately, once we get all of the specs and the configurations to what they want, we build the testnet. And I would say conservatively, it takes around 2 to 3 weeks to build the testnet. And then we communicate with them, make sure that everything is running smoothly. It's meeting their standards of what they wanted. And then once they give us the green light there, then we build the mainnet, which usually takes, to be conservative, another 2 to 3 weeks. And then from there, we empower them to build their application. And we're here the entire way. It's not just like we build everything and leave. We're here from a consulting perspective as well. So when it comes from overall tokenomics or any questions that the developers have, we have an entire team here that's here, and it's more of a true business partnership rather than just a, build and evaporate into thin air.
Yeah, so you mentioned about all of the mother chains to work with, but what exactly is that one thing that makes app chains different from layer 2 or other solutions that we have in this space?
I would say, in short, they differ from L2s because an app chain is basically an L1. In fact, it's not basically an L1, it is an L1. So the difference is layer 2s are called a layer 2 solution for a reason, right? It's a service layer that's built on top of a layer 1. So even though layer 2s, they act very independently, they can't exist without a layer 1 because they're there to solve whatever challenges that layer 1 has. So when it comes to Ankr's app chain infrastructure and then application-specific blockchains itself, it allows the developer to build with the consensus mechanisms that they want and the programming languages that they want. It gives them this complete freedom to build comfortably. And that's the difference between an app chain and L2 is when you build on an L2, although there are some phenomenal projects out there, you still have less customizability than what you would have with your own dedicated blockchain building on essentially a layer 1.
So we have been talking about app chains in the perspective of builders and developers, but what do you think? What impact will this have for Web3 consumer adoption?
Absolutely, yeah. I think from a consumer perspective, this is crucial, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to be building decentralized applications with as quality of a user experience as the current centralized applications that power the internet today. And until we get there, we won't have that, enhanced mass adoption that we're all working towards, right? So when it comes to app chains, how does this affect consumer adoption? Well, ultimately, it empowers developers to reach their full potential and build those decentralized applications with incredible user experiences, like I mentioned. But what that means is more people will start to actually begin using these decentralized applications, and that's key. Because the best way to learn anything in life really is through experience, right? By actually using it. So once we get to the point where people are attracted to the actual game or the actual application, the actual service that is built on the blockchain in a decentralized manner, and they actually want to begin utilizing it rather than just speculatively investing in it, that will it'll be a domino effect from there. People will begin utilizing it. They'll understand the true value of blockchain technology and crypto assets in the crypto industry as a whole. And ultimately what that will do is over time, it will decrease volatility of the space and it'll increase adoption And then we'll start to see people truly, taking advantage of the true benefits that this amazing industry that we all love can do, and has the potential to, really provide the societal digital data ownership that we all deserve. So it comes full circle when it comes to app chains. It not only affects developers, but affects consumers, and it's a very exciting solution in the space.